Hey guys, welcome back to Sporto channel and CCIE tutor from Sporto, and this channel that created by Sporto to share about the latest news on network, project management, and cybersecurity news, trends, and exam tips. I really appreciate if you can subscribe our channel and give me a thumbs up to the video, which allows my video reach out to more people just like you. So today our focus is on the data analysis of Eilab topology. This is the complete Eilab topology diagram, which mainly examines the candidate deploy, operate, and optimize capabilities, referred to as DOO, which is mainly configured from routing and switching, SDA and SD1, and programming. These belong to the HQ category, and this module belongs to the DC category, and the module on the right belongs to the IaaS, and the SP1 and SP2 are connected, and the corresponding 4 branches are below the SP. So among them, this module is mainly the routing and switching part, which first realize the whole network communication. And this module examines the SDA and SD1 technology, and mainly manages and configures the equipment of the local area network and wide area network in a unified manner. And the right part is our programming. Programming is relatively simple for Sporto students. So this is the complete routing and switching technology, which require us to accurately initialize the phenomena of each requirement can occur normally. If there is a problem with the routing and switching part, it will directly affect the SDN module. Routing and switching mainly assess candidates through artificial configuration and multiple choice questions. So today we mainly explain the relevant knowledge point and their application in Eilab. So in the HQ category, the main technologies involved are Ether channel, spanning tree, OSPF, VRP, DHCP, EIGRP, and so on. So today we mainly introduce the use of VRP technology in Eilab. So within the scope of HQ, these two devices need to be configured with VRP. So let's learn the principle of VRP first. Okay, so let's first understand why VRP technology is needed. Let's first look at the topology on the left. The gateway of the PC is 1.254 on the router. When the gateway is filled, the all host using the device as the gateway cannot communicate with the internet. So it is possible to configure multiple gateway devices for redundancy. So we use the VRP, Virtual Router Redundancy Protocol. A group of routers work together, but only one is active. Multiple routers in a VRP group share a virtual IP address, which is used as the default gateway address of the host. The VRP protocol determines which router is activated, and the activate router is responsible for receiving and routing the data packet sent. So in this example, there are two routers, router 1 and router 2. The IP address of router 1 is 251 and router 2 uses 252. And we need to configure router 1 and router 2 associate with the same virtual router, which uses 1.254 as the IP address. So all PC users use 1.254 as the default gateway. So these are basic concepts of VRRP. First, the virtual router. VRRP abstracts a virtual router for each group, which is not real physical device, but a logical device virtualized by VRRP. A VRRP group only generates one virtual router, and virtual IP address and virtual MAC address. The virtual router has its own IP address and MAC address. The IP address is specified when VRRP is configured as the gateway address of the PC. The format of the virtual MAC address is 0000 5E00 and 01 and group ID. So this is the concept of VRP, and let's continue. And the master router it needs to undertake the task of the forwarding packet. Only the master router will be responsible to the ARP request for the virtual IP address. The master router will periodically send VRP packet at a certain interval to notify the backup router of its own survival. And the backup router, it will listen to VRRP packet sent by the master router in real time, and it is ready to take over the work of the master router at any time. And the priority, it is the basis for electing the master router and backup router. The priority value ranges from 0 to 255. The higher the value, the higher the priority. If the values are equal, the interface IP address are compared, and the high IP address is preferred, and the priority default is 100. The configurable range is from 1 to 254. Priority 0 means that when the VRRP configuration is deleted. If the device is in the master state, it will advertise VRRP packet with a VRRP priority of 0. And the priority of 255 means that when the device interface IP is the same as the IP address of the virtual device, a notification packet with the priority of 255 will be generated, which will directly become the master. Okay, so let's continue to see VRP packet format. This is the packet format of VRP. The packet of VRP is advertisement, which is sent by multicast. The destination address of the multicast packet of VRP is 224.0018, and this is the source and this is the source IP is master port IP address, and this is the source and destination mark of the Ethernet header, and the source MAC address corresponding to the IP header is the master IP address, and this is the specific packet field of VRP. So we won't introduce it in detail. And VRP has three stages, include initialize, master, and backup. If the device is in the initialized state, the priority is equal to 255. It can become master directly. And if the priority is less than 255, it will become backup first. And if the interface is shut down, and it will become initialized. And if it receives a packet with a lower, then itself in the backup of the master is down, it will become the master. Okay. If receive priority is greater than the local, it will be backup still. So master and backup carry different tasks. If the device is master needs to send VRP packet periodically and respond to an ARP request for a virtual IP address with a virtual MAC address. And master needs to forward IP packet whose destination MAC address is the virtual MAC address. And if the device is the backup should receive VRP packet sent by the master device to determine whether the status of the master device is normal, and ARP requests for virtual IP address don't respond, and backup discard IP packet whose destination MAC address is the virtual MAC address, and backup will discard the IP packet whose destination IP address is the virtual IP address. So let's see the master and the backup switches. If router 1 becomes the backup normally the master device is responsible for forwarding user packet, and all user traffic reaches the internet through the router 1. But when the router 1 failed, the network will perform VRRP master and backup election again. At this time, router 2 will become the new master device responsible for forward user packet. But if router 1 becomes backup after recovery, but has a higher priority than the router 2 master, can it become the master? So the VRP protocol supports the preemption function, and it is enabled by default. If the preemption function is turned on, the preemption mode enabled by default. If the backup routers activate the preemption function, when it finds that the master router has a lower priority than itself, it will immediately switch to the master state and become the new master router. And if the preemption function is turned off, the backup router doesn't activate the preemption function. Even if it finds that the priority of the master router is lower than that of itself, it can only keep the backup state until the master router fails. But the HSRP doesn't enable preemption by default. So in this example, router 1 can end up being the master. Okay, so let's introduce the requirement of VRRP in Eilab. Okay, the above is about the principle of VRP. So let's introduce the VRRP requirement in Eilab. The switch 101 and 102 are the main gateway of PC11 and PC12, and this PC belongs to within 2000, and this within belong to 2001. So the Eilab require us to use group number 100 for within 2000 and group number 101 for within 2001, and this group number is 100, and we should use the first available IPv4 address in the subnet for the address of the virtual router, and also we need to use for within 2000. Switch 101 must be the preferred gateway and for within 2001, switch 102 must be preferred gateway. So don't rely on the IPv4 address of the switches are raw tiebreakers. So this requirement we need to elect the master or backup through the priority. Okay, priority, and we can't configure the switch's IP address as the same as the virtual address, and the role must be determined by an explicit configuration solely on the intended preferred gateway. So let me demonstrate the VRP configuration.